Okay, moving on to more breaking news coming in on NCERT, now including a section in the Class 8 books that lists corruption in judiciary and a massive backlog as challenges. This chapter on corruption in judiciary will be available for the next session for Class 8 students who will be studying the NCERT textbooks. This is the second volume of the social science book of Class 8, consisting of this chapter. The first volume of the same book was released last year in July. Now, reactions have come in already. Kapil Sibal, for instance, has taken to social media and he, in fact, has said, and I quote, "Corruption in judiciary, what about the massive corruption of politicians, including ministers, public servants, investigation agencies, and why governments brush them under the carpet?" So that's the comment that's coming from Kapil Sibal. I do want to bring in Simran Babbar into the conversation. And these comments are on expected lines, but we've seen a slightly different take coming in from Kapil Sibal in this case, for instance. But Simran, really to go back to the drawing board a little bit, tell us about the sections that were there in the earlier textbooks vis-a-vis, the ones that have been published since July, and why is it at the heart of this huge controversy, politically speaking, now? Okay, we'll just reconnect that line with Simran. The old textbook, to come in on what has changed, the old textbook only described the role of judiciary, what an independent judiciary is, the structure of courts, access to them without any mention of corruption. And this is the latest induction of this one chapter, corruption at various levels of the judiciary, which has prompted these kind of comments from the likes of Kapil Sibal. Simran is back with us on the phone line. Yes, Simran.
Yes, absolutely, Christian. And in fact, as we look at the old textbook of the social science of Class 8 that only described the role of the judiciary, it was about what an independent judiciary is, the structure of the courts and access to them without any mention of corruption. But it is only now that the volume 2 or the part 2 of the social science Class 8 book has mentioned corruption at various levels of judiciary and a massive backlog on the amount of multiple reasons, such as lack of adequate number of judges, the complicated legal procedures and the poor infrastructure as among the challenges which has been faced by the Indian judicial system. So that is now the new inclusion. As we are hearing, the phrase justice delayed is justice denied is often used to characterize this extended time period that courts take, is one of the phrases that has been very categorically used in this chapter. And the new book also lists the approximate number of pending cases as well in the apex court.
But there's also been a delay in releasing this textbook, at least this volume, isn't it? So has the NCERT officials top men come out with a comment, clarification on the questions being posed now?
We have reached to the NCERT director, D.P. Saklani, and he did not really respond to the request for the comment on the new section. There has been delay, but we also have to note at this point of time that this very chapter that we are talking about, mentioning of the corruption cases and the pending cases in the Supreme Court of various kinds, is only going to be available for the students to be taken up in the curriculum from the next session. As it has been already released, the publication division of the NCERT now has in fact confirmed to me that the book has going to be a part of a curriculum from the next session. Now, when we speak of the section, let me also brief a bit about the section on the corruption, which states that judges are bound by a code of conduct that governs not only the behavior in court, but also how they conduct themselves outside it. This is a very important part for the students to be included in the curriculum. It refers to the judiciary's internal mechanism to maintain the accountability and an established procedure for receiving the complaints through the centralized public grievance redress and monitoring system, the CPGRAMs that we know of, adding that over 1,600 complaints that were received in the time period of 4 years from 2017 to 2021. So this is in fact, new inclusion. It also includes the quotes from the former Chief Justice of India, B.R. Gavai, who has said that there have been instances of corruption and misconduct that have surfaced even within the judiciary. So that is how the highlight over the emphasis on the corruption that has been ongoing and rampant. And we see, the everyday cases that are also pending in the Supreme Court of such nature that are going to be now taught to students. So this is in fact a big move by the NCERT. While such occurrences inevitably have a negative impact on the public confidence, but for the students to largely and comprehensively look at the curriculum, it is an important inclusion from the student point of view at the Class 8.
Oh yes, an important inclusion indeed. Inclusion of sections on corruption in the judiciary and also the role of judiciary in our society. Simran, we do see now a lot of people in the opposition, of course, kind of use diversionary tactics. They're citing this one inclusion, this one section that's now been included in Class 8 NCERT textbooks, and they're saying, what about corruption of ministers, politicians, public servants, investigation agencies? Have we seen any clarification coming from the government overall, let alone the NCERT?
No, not at the moment. As in fact, the government had largely in the last year only clarified when we speak about when we speak to the ministry about it. As per the NEP, the rationalization of the NCERT has been developing, as the NCERT has been on the ambit of developing the new textbook for all the classes in the line with the National Education Policy 2020 and the National Curriculum Framework. That's important to be noted for the school education. So far, new books for the class 1 to 8 have been released in line with how the rationalization has been done. Now, the old textbook of the volume 1 of the social sciences of this very same part has been released last year in July, and the old textbooks based on the NCEP of 2005 were rationalized, and the content load was also reduced following the COVID pandemic. So this very particular act is in line with how the NEP is going to be now looked into focus by the Ministry of Education as well.
Okay, many thanks, Simran, for joining us with that detailed input.